Barbie, everybody. Barbie officially broke $1 billion after this weekend. That's right. The very first female-directed movie to make $1 billion at the box office.
Ever.
That is ever. That's Barbie. So when people go nuts about this, it makes sense because it's a huge win for HBO. It's a huge, or I should say Max, because that's what it is these days. It's a huge win for them, especially during a strike to make this kind of money. But over the weekend, $53 million domestically it made for a total overall of $459.4 million, plus $872 international. Overall, $1.03 billion now Barbie has made. And as I said before, Greta Gerwig came out and said that they haven't actually signed on like she has to direct a sequel. And Margot Robbie hasn't, and Ryan Gosling is kind of floating too. Now, we heard that he could be doing that Ken sequel. That's kind of coming down the pipeline. But for this in general, they're not apparently attached at all yet. And Greta's got she's got her own stuff moving forward with Chronicles of Narnia on Netflix. She'll be doing that. So will she have time to do a Barbie 2? And I'm going to tell once a Barbie 2 and a 3, they're saying, after how big this is. And of course, Warner Brothers does too. And they're going to try to make these spinoffs happen. Of course, nothing's happening yet. It's not official, but $1 billion is a lot of money. And I got to tell you, people have gone nuts for Barbie. They've gone nuts, Sabrina. And $1 billion, are you shocked? Are you shocked that it's made $1 billion?
Kind of, I guess.
It's crazy. Isn't it crazy? I mean, it's not. It's insane, but it's awesome.
I don't know. I was not very psyched for this movie, as everyone knows. Like initially when I first heard of it, I was like, what? Like, seriously, are you fucking kidding? And then, as it got closer and the trailers got more involved, and I saw Will Ferrell was the CEO of Mattel, I was like, okay, that piqued my interest. Seeing them in the real world piqued my interest. And we saw it, and it wound up, it was really, really, really good. And I've said before also, like, one of the most visually stunning films I've ever seen in any capacity. And there he is. That's my guy, Michael Cera. Fucking sleeper cell. Best part of that movie is Michael Cera as Alan. He is so spectacular. If for nothing else, if you have no interest in Barbie, anything about Barbie, which by the way, it's not really, obviously it's about the patriarchy and a matriarchy and like women and men and, and Alan, obviously here he is. But it's a really hard dynamic of mother-daughter, which is like one of Greta Gerwig's things. It was the same theme that was, throughout Lady Bird as well. She is really good at telling that mother-daughter story. And America Ferrera's character, who also did a spectacular job. Her character's name was Gloria. Her daughter, she had that dynamic with her daughter. I don't want to give anything away because it's not a spoiler show. Is that correct, Brian?
You can say whatever at this point. It's $1 billion, been out for a few weeks.
That doesn't mean everybody saw it.
I mean, I think a lot of people have seen it for $1 billion bucks, you know?
I mean, Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling were spectacular. Don't get me wrong. And I don't want to take anything away from them. But America Ferrera was my favorite. She was amazing. She did such a great job delivering every fucking line, let alone this model. She had a big monologue about women in society and like the perception of women. And it was so spectacular. She was amazing. Also, Michael Cera as Alan. Like Alan is, if anyone doesn't know, like he's a real doll. He was like Ken's friend. He was like very quickly discontinued. Yes, Kevin, we both saw the movie. Brian can give you his take. He didn't like it as much as I did. But I thought it was really good. It's absolutely 100% worth watching. The cinematography is amazing. And the cinematographer is the same cinematographer that does all of Martin Scorsese's movies, which is super interesting. Because like, look at The Irishman, and The Killers of the Flower Moon, which is coming out. Same cinematographer that did Barbie, which is fantastically bizarre to me. Another favorite right here, Kate McKinnon as Barbie. I mean, she was also spectacular. She was always in the splits. She was like, had crayon on her face and her hair was too short. And like, it was basically the Barbie that you played with too hard. And a fun twist was that America Ferrera's character, Gloria, was actually the one that made Weird Barbie that way. When she was a young girl, and then she was playing with the Margot Robbie version of Barbie, which is stereotypical Barbie, and which is what caused her to have flat feet that everyone saw in the trailer. And this shot right here is basically the blue pill, red pill thing from the Matrix. In the beginning, where this Barbie that you see here is shown, it's 2001 Space Odyssey from Kubrick. So there's like a lot of cool callbacks, to different films. Her journey from Barbie Land to the real world is very similar to the journey when Elf left the North Pole and came to the real world as well, or New York City, whenever the swirly twirly gumdrops and the Lincoln Tunnel. It's fun, and there were at least, and I'm not exaggerating, at least 10 times where I laughed out loud. Like it was laugh, and I'm not the type of person to be laughing out loud for shit. You know what I mean? I'm very critical, and if you got me, you got me. 10 times at least I laughed out loud. So there's that. There were a couple of issues, things that I'd like, maybe we beat this a little bit too hard, or we get the fucking point or whatever. But I mean, Ryan Gosling was hilarious as Cat. Like the cast was so like uniformly fabulous. And Greta Gerwig was obviously did a spectacular job directing. She also co-wrote it with her husband. So kudos to her. And Margot Robbie. I mean, what is not to like about Margot Robbie? Honestly, she's beautiful. She's sincere. She's funny. She's just like I have nothing bad to say about her. And as everyone knows, also not very characteristic of me. I can always find something. Not with her. She's perfect. So she was the perfect choice to play Barbie.
Perfect choice for Barbie, for sure. For sure, perfect. But I mean, honestly, you watch her, the way she portrays it, even like the high heels thing. I mean, I think it was good that way. The Barbie Land itself, and like, it's really went to a little bit. The Barbie Land itself, like the set deck and all the production design was amazing, honestly. And people can argue online, being like, well, you have these pre-made props that Barbie Land, you know what Barbie's dream house looks like, you know what the whole world looks like. Yeah, there it is. But to recreate that in that world, that's why it costs $150 million to make this, because they went all out with the set deck, and that world looks amazing. I will say, like, there are things that kind of I'm like, okay, about the movie. It's like the whole Will Ferrell thing. I feel like he's just kind of thrown it at the end. Like, I feel like he's not really needed. Yes, it does help add to the next Barbies moving forward. There is some push towards like where Barbie's going to go in the future, and I think that's good.
Well, it also adds threat. Like, then there's some suspense. What is going to happen? What if he catches them? What are you going to do? Put the baby in the bed.
They didn't seem that threatening for what I mean. I did fall asleep for part of this movie. I'm not going to lie. Full discretion out there.
At least
I did fall asleep.
For almost the entire part of the real world.
The real world, I missed most of that. So whatever happened there, I don't really know. I know what happens in Barbie Land. And I know Ken takes over. And I know then Barbie has to take Ken down. And I feel like it's a play on society a lot of times too. It's definitely like society
100% a play on society.
Women and men, and like they're like, how they react, how they act in the real world.
Well, okay, really quickly, Barbie Land is where all the Barbies are in charge, basically. Yeah. So it's a matriarchy, Barbie Land, right? And so there's like all the different Barbies, like there's astronaut Barbie and Dr. Barbie and lawyer Barbie and Judge Barbie, the Supreme Court of all Barbies, and so like Barbie Land is the matriarchy, and in Barbie Land, Ken is just Ken.
Just Ken.
That's it.
There's a whole song where he just tells him, just Ken. He beaches all day. He beaches it up.
His job is to beach. And like, in the beginning of the movie, he like takes the surfboard and is like running at a plastic wave and then hurts himself. Dr. Barbie has to save him.
Kind of funny.
But that's all the Kens do. They just beach. They don't, Kens don't have functions because that wasn't Ken's job. And it's like Barbie had the jobs, and so then they go to the real world, Barbie and the one Ken, Ryan Gosling, because all the Kens are Kens. Ryan Gosling and Barbie go to the real world, and he sees that there is actually something called the patriarchy, which is the world that we live in, and like all the CEOs and Mattel are men, and he reads books and like realizes that like people look at men differently in the real world, and instead of in Barbie Land where like all they live for is Barbie to look at them and say hi. They're just waiting for Barbie to say hi to them in Barbie Land. And here it's like, the way that I felt like when, that guy, just because I was a guy, say hello. It's not, like there's like this camaraderie, and then he started reading books, and he brings the patriarchy back to Barbie Land. So when she goes back to Barbie Land, all the guys are in charge, all the Kens, and like all the Barbies are basically dressed up like French maids and like serving them and giving them foot massages, and they're in some like sort of trance essentially. So Brian, back to you. I just wanted to explain like that's what you meant by like the real world. Yeah, I mean that's what it just changes, but it's still like this weird dichotomy where it's a different kind of idea for. I mean, it's just looking at society. It's looking at societal norms. This is what it is. And at the end, my only thing at the end, like I think there's a great inspirational speech at the end, and I think there's a great moments there at the end.
but I still wish it would have. And it's like it's leading up to like there is more to come for this. Like the idea of a Ken spinoff is coming right now, where Ken could actually find himself better.
Yeah, that's what they set
the way
it up
ends
for.
right now. It's like Ken is just kind of like, I guess I gotta figure out who the fuck I am, like because he doesn't really know at the end without Barbie, like who is he? But that's also playing off the dolls. It's always like he's an accessory to her, That's kind of how it's been. So now I wish it would have had a little bit more growth for him at the end. That was one of my biggest things. I wish there would have been more growth. But it's setting it up. It's leading for the future.
There was growth, so he realizes that his only purpose is not for Barbie to say hi to him, and he has to figure out who he is and what his purpose can be.
There is growth, but I would have liked, I don't know, maybe some Kens around the judicial board at the end. I don't know, but
dude, that's not what.
But that's not what they're gonna do.
That's not what Barbie
That's not what they're gonna do, and that's okay. And I think it had a great message, and I think again, it has a great. If you have a daughter, I mean, this is not a kids movie. It really is not. But I think it is a good, it's a good idea to put out there for your daughters out there.
Yeah, if you're a kid that's over 13, like a 13-year-old or, maybe even a mature 12-year-old, like that, then it's fine. But it's not for a 6 or 7-year-old.
There's some stuff like, the whole, and you probably saw in the trailers, like the guys are talking about beaching each other off. I'll beat you up. I'll beat you off. I'll beat you off all day. I'll beat you off in the sun. I'll beat you off on the land. I'll beat you off with my green eggs and ham. You know what I mean? So it's like about a blunt of that shit. So I think you go too far. If they would have taken that out, I think it would have had a bigger audience to go to for kids. And especially if you look at the ads before, there's a lot of kids ads before, like trailers. And I think they could have had a bigger audience, but it doesn't really matter. It made $1 billion.
I was like, it's a great message. What bigger audience do you need? It made $1 billion, and it's only a couple weeks in.
And it makes sense why it did well. If you watch it, it's a lovely movie. It has a lot of good messages to it, and it really showcases.
It's funny.
And it's funny. And like Michael Cera, like she said, really was sleeper cell. He was great. Like Michael Cera, just hilarious. Like I didn't know he was being here. I didn't know that Anne was a character in the Barbie world. That he's an actual doll that everyone knows about. And you see him in there. It's like he just like
discontinued him very quickly.
It's like the awkward kind of Ken, but not Ken. He's Alan. He's like, hey guys, I'm not.
It's Alan. Like Skipper.
It's like I don't really know much about this world, but again, I went into it. I did fall asleep, but it was after traveling all day. I went and saw this, so. I still want to see the rest of the real world stuff. So I think that was very interesting and fascinating. Funny. But the Barbie world, they nailed it. I understand why Warner Brothers and Mattel want to ride this train dirty. They want to keep it going. They want to make lots of money because they see the dollar signs with this franchise. But Greta Gerwig is going to be tied down for years. Honestly, I mean, money is a huge franchise. And Netflix has been sitting on this franchise for a long time. They've had the rights for it, looking for the right director. And they think that she's the person that will lead that going forward. So, I mean, it's going to be hard for her to do Barbie 2. It's going to be hard. We have a strike again. That's probably going to last who knows how long. They're saying 5-6 months. I hope it's not that. Barbie and Taylor Swift driving the U.S. economy. It's true.
That's a real thing. That is actually true.
It's true. And it's great for theaters. It's awesome for theaters. I mean, the Barbenheimer thing was amazing. The fact they were able to get things out, because even Oppenheimer did great. Like a 3-hour plus movie. That's insane to me. That
about the atomic bomb. How boring can it be?
Great cast, great director. I mean, honestly, I know Nolan. He's freaking awesome. After working with him, I understand why it did so well. He does a great. He's fucking great director. And he spends a lot of time with the actors, so that I guarantee is awesome. Maybe some people went out to see Florence Pugh's boobs. I don't know, because those are on there too. Maybe that drove some freaking some ratings up. People are like, oh yeah, Florence Pugh. You never know. But for me, I still haven't seen Oppenheimer. I want to go see it. And I gotta tell you, if you've seen Barbie, you'll understand why it's doing so well, because it's just, they had a great marketing campaign too.
Yep.
Like it had an awesome marketing campaign. Like I have not seen a movie have so much buzz going into it. Like I said, the Barbenheimer thing, and
now they're called the Barbillions because she hit the $1 billion mark.
Barbillions, 1.03 billion. That's a huge win during this time. And we still have movies coming out, of course. There's still projects on the back burner that we will see coming out. You will not see actors doing press for it because they're trying to fight for it. Like the studios want the actors to do press, but all that does is give them another leg up. So they want, so it helps them as opposed to getting them to sign a deal. They need to sign a deal, figure this out so we can all get back to work, because 6 months is going to be tough. It's going to be tough, everybody. And you will notice it big time in 2024. 2023, not as much this fall, you'll start noticing stuff, but not until 24, you'll see like big difference in like, oh shit, where's everything? Oh, Marvel's pushing. Oh, Disney's pushing. Oh, Paramount's pushing. Oh, you're going to hear a lot of that stuff because stuff's not done and it's not in the can.
But they do have stuff in the can.
They do have some stuff. but they should also be pushing forward to get this done so that the actors can promote it. And that's why they can't give on that. But this is a big thing happening. Barbie is huge for the entertainment industry. It's huge for the theaters. Theaters are freaking loving it. I guarantee it. So I'm happy it's doing so well. And I'm thrilled for Greta and I'm thrilled for the cast because it's big. I mean, you put a lot of time into these projects and you never want to see them fail.